Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video we have a trip report for you guys, and this trip report comes from my boy Crispy Brozine on the Trip Reports Reddit. If you guys have a trip report or any other story you want told on the channel, you can send it to this email. So yeah, let's get into it. Last night, I had a super intense trip on magic truffles. I've taken truffles before a few times, but it was always on the lower dosage side. Yesterday though, I had 2 bags of 30 grams in total, and ate them with 2 friends with another friend coming along sober. I had no idea how much I was actually eating at this time, since we just passed the bag around and took turns picking them out. We walked around by the river for a while to find a nice spot to sit down, and gradually I could feel something intense coming on. I was a little freaked out because it felt really different to the other times I've taken truffles, and I also had a strange tingling feeling in the back of my head. But I told myself to keep calm and I would probably feel better once I sat down. Well, once we sat down, shit really started to get intense. I've never really had visuals on truffles before, but this time everything just looked fuzzy and hazy. It was nighttime and the shadowy silhouettes of the trees against the slightly brighter sky was somehow really intense, and I felt like the branches were waving at me. I suddenly thought about those stories of people who have had bad trips, where the trees turn evil and freak them out. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I kind of asked myself if I think I feel that that's where my trip is going to go, and I just thought absolutely not. And all of a sudden I had such a deep, intense love and appreciation for the tree I was looking at. I really understood in that moment how much of a living being it really was, just like me. At that point, I realized I was tripping balls. My head felt super heavy, so I kind of just held it in my hands and looked downwards with my eyes closed. And that's when shit got fucking crazy. I had such intense visuals. I've never seen anything like it before. Insanely vibrant colors, insanely vibrant patterns. It was seriously like someone had put a kaleidoscope behind my eyes, and my thoughts were just racing faster than the speed of light. I kept thinking of how perfect everything was, how beautiful humans are, how much love we deserve. I kept thinking about how much I love myself and just how subjective human perfection is. I looked up again and my head cleared a tiny bit, but I still felt really trippy. I was the only one feeling the effects at this point, and the others were kind of concerned about me, but I knew deep down that everything was fine. Everything was exactly how it was supposed to be. We talked a little, we laughed a lot, and I felt kind of overwhelmed with everything, but not necessarily in a bad sense. I just noticed how, for example, chewing candy was just really weird. At one point, I thought I could really feel each and every one of my teeth. I kept repeating the cycle of looking down for a while, letting my thoughts flow, then looking back up, talking to my friends for a while, and then my head got too heavy, looking back down again into that amazing kaleidoscope. I tried a few times to convey my thoughts to the others, but often I couldn't, because I felt like my words just weren't enough to truly describe what was happening. At one point, I kept telling my friends, there's just so much, and it's all the time. And I knew the way I was explaining it just wasn't enough for them to understand, but I knew that using other words would just not be right. We ended up falling asleep by the river and only woke up when we were all too cold. On the way back home, I had this deep love for the whole world. I stretched out my arms and wanted to hug everything all at once. I also realized that in comparison to the other times, I didn't really feel all that different after the trip. which kind of confirmed to me that I am on the right path and my life is heading in a direction that I feel happy with. So guys, that's the story. This trip report was pretty good. He did just about everything pretty responsibly. Other than, you know, the way he consumed it, because like you said, he knows that across all of them they took about 30 grams of these truffles, but because they were passing it around kind of just like munching out of it, the dose was kind of random. But overall, this was a pretty good trip. It's a pretty good example of how headspace really affects what happens on these substances, because in the beginning he talked about how he just basically decided he wasn't gonna have a bad trip when he started to trip, and later on he realized that it felt different because he felt like he was going in the right direction in his life. So yeah, moral of this story is headspace is everything. Pay attention to what's going on in there. It's good for you. Now, go drink some milk or some shit, I don't know.
I'd rather eat some crumbs with a bum before I ever eat a steak with a snake. I'm in the fast lane for some money, you know I can't never slow down or hit the brakes. That's a chirp on my other line. White boy, but I'm in the party and I snuck the 9. Ever since some youngins, we been fucked up committing crime. Running through them streets all night, you lose track of time. They don't want to smoke with white loaf.